Horned Frogs trying to go up 3 scores. Deep drop for Hoover, taking a deep shot. Hoover threads it in. Touchdown, Jack Bech.
Welcome back to State of the Frogs with your head coach, Sonny Dykes. Coach, tough loss last Saturday against UCF. An unbelievable performance at certain times from our offense. I think we'll speak about that in a second, but first comments on the game.
Yeah, good football game. Disappointed we came out on the end that we came out on. Had opportunities, obviously, to pull away and create a lead that was kind of insurmountable, and weren't able to do it. Let those guys kind of get back in the game, and to their credit, they just kept pounding away, ran the football, and and the quarterback made plays. We said going into the game we wanted KJ Jefferson to have to throw the ball to beat us, and he made throws in situations when he had to, and you got to give him credit for doing that. And disappointed, that we weren't able to get it done down the stretch. Would have loved to get that stop defensively at the end. Gave up that little post route, but then had a chance to kick a long field goal, a 58-yarder. Kyle Lemon hit the ball really well. Just was probably a little too far, and we had a chance the play before to get it down to something a little bit more manageable, and we just didn't execute well enough. So when you look back, there's 10 or 12 plays in the game that had we made them, we would have been able to win the football game, and you got to learn from those mistakes and not make them again and move forward.
Very good. The pretty common thought on the first half, the offense looked sensational. I mean, I think you would agree. You even commented on the presser, but the offense was rolling for the first half. Yeah,
I think it's just about as well as we can play on both sides of the ball, really, and on special teams as well. I thought it was about as close to a perfect performance against a very good football team. And, really, you've got to go back a while to see us play as well as we did in the first half. And, I mean, we played pretty good at times in 22. I don't know that we played a half of football against a quality opponent that well, even in 22. So I was encouraged by that, and then we start the second half with a touchdown drive to go up 21. And then, had some drives in the third and fourth quarter that, got down to the 1-yard line and got a false start, which killed us. Had to kick a field goal there, had 3 plays in a row on one drive that if we execute any of the 3 plays, we score a touchdown on them, and just didn't execute at the level that we should have. And so, and then a ton of things defensively. So, just things that we got to improve on. And those plays come up when you play against a quality football team. Central Florida's a good football team. They're going to have a good year, very talented, kind of a unique team with the quarterback having the skill set that he has and their defensive front. So it was a challenging game for us, and like I said, I thought most of the game we played well. We just didn't close it out like we needed to.
Your quarterback over the 400-yard mark again. That's in 4 touchdowns. Josh showed a lot of upside for.
Yeah. I thought he played well. We got to run the ball better. Got to be able to take a little pressure off of him and run the football, and that's one way to hold on to a lead is to be able to pound the football and run the game out. And again, that's what that team in 22 did so well, is we would take a lead in the fourth quarter, and then the defense or the opposing team would never get the ball back. And we weren't able to sustain that drive and do that this week, and we got to get where we can run the ball better so that we can do that.
Savion, Jack, and JP Richardson, the 3 receivers that were in the highlights most of the time, had really big games as receivers. It was great to see those guys being really active.
Yeah, it starts up front, honestly. We threw the ball 52 times in the game and didn't get sacked. And I think that's probably going to be the best front that we play all year. And so I was really encouraged by the way we pass protected. Josh got hit a couple of times. One time it got us on a safety blitz where the tackle was a little bit late with his eyes. And a couple of other times they got to him, but really took only one hard hit the whole game. And again, that's a credit to the way our protection, and thought the guys did a tremendous job of doing that. And then, Josh can throw, and we got some guys that can catch. And so we were able to string together some drives, make some big plays, and move the football pretty consistently.
Coach, real quickly, Bob Weiger, 17 years head coach at Arlington Martin. He's kind of a known entity in that regard, but he has become this larger-than-life block guru. Can you explain
Bob does a really good job. Bob works with our teams and helps us with some of our block schemes, both punt block and field goal block. And really it was a combination of a lot of guys doing that. Jamarcus McFarland does a good job of coaching the guys inside, and that's a push and timing thing. And then, Bob does a really good job of those wings and from a timing standpoint as well. So combination of a lot of people working together. Nothing really unusual from a scheme standpoint, just more of, a day-by-day kind of workmanlike approach to doing things the right way and creating pressure on a field goal team.
3-block kick, something you rarely see these days.
Yeah, I think it really honestly comes down to effort. It's interesting. We blocked 3 kicks 3 different ways. One time was a middle push where the kicker probably kicked the ball a little bit low, but we got enough push. Caleb Fox got his hands up. That's a timing block when you do that. We caught one off the edge with Lamarion James one time that was really just a great play by him. Timed the snap up, did a great job of running the edge, and something that we practiced and spent a lot of time on. And then the third one now, the wing was very aware of LJ, and so he kind of stepped out there to block him and created a gap inside. Abe Kamara did a tremendous job of penetrating between the tackle and the tight end, and then Bud came between the end and the wing and was able to block a punt. So a lot of things that happened within those blocks. Those were all, big plays in the ball game. And it came from a lot of hard work and a lot of guys doing things the right way.
Very good, very good. All right, Coach. Well, we're going to move on to the next game here in a second, but another hard-fought loss in Amon Carter. Was the last question? Was the weather, the heat, the humidity, any indication of?
No, I don't think so. I mean, both teams had to play in it. I think that we did seem to wear down a little bit in the second half. It was humid. It was not a lot of air in the in the stadium, but we got to respond better and. We tried to rotate guys and keep guys as fresh as we could, but the way they were running the ball, it took its toll on us a little bit, and and then they were able to hit a couple of passes that were big passes.
Fair. We'll be right back with our student question of the week with your head coach Sonny Dykes on State of the Frogs.
What do you see when you look up at the clouds? At Richard's Rainwater, we see the greatest source of pure, delicious water looking right back down at us. We've invented a simple, powerful technology to collect and bottle rainwater. Our process begins with the rain. When clouds become saturated, droplets fall from the sky. Rainfall is a naturally cleansing event. During the first few minutes, the raindrops clean the atmosphere and wash away any dirt or debris from surface areas. At this cleanest point in the rain cycle, we collect the pure raindrops into large storage vessels. Then, we use a simple, yet effective combination of ozone and microfiltration to ensure our rainwater surpasses the highest drinking water standards. We pour the pure, refreshing rainwater into glass bottles and aluminum cans, packaging as infinitely renewable as the water itself. Richard's Rainwater is building a network of collection systems across the country to ensure our rainwater is local everywhere. The purest, best-tasting water comes from the sky. Richard's Rainwater, sip the sky.
Welcome back to State of the Frogs with your head coach, Sonny Dykes. Our question from Mallory James Mahoney comes from a birthday girl, Shelby, this week. Coach, what do you think about that?
Happy birthday, Shelby, at 19, right?
Yes.
Good. Congrats.
Thanks, JW. Hey there, Coach Dykes. I am here with our student question of the week. I am with freshman Shelby Garner. She is an early childhood development major from Texas.
Hey, Coach Dykes. So what do you do after the game? Do you have a routine? What does that look like?
Honestly, it's kind of the same. Night game, like we've had 3 night games so far this year, and one of them was travel in California. And what I try to do is really win or lose. Have to do a lot of press, media, recruiting. Usually takes about an hour and a half to kind of wrap that stuff up after the game's over. Try to spend a little time with the family. This past week I stayed in my office and watched the tape. So it usually ends up being a pretty late night. They get our iPads loaded up. We could take those home as well. And so, Sunday's a pretty heavy loaded work day for us. So I try to get as much work done really Saturday night as I can. Most of the time I'll go through and watch the offense and defense and special teams. Just try to get a good look at it. Kind of prepare, my overall thoughts for staff meeting the next morning. So there's a lot to do. Really, it's kind of, in some ways, when the game's over, then, really there's as much work to do then at that point than there was during the game.
Not much dwelling on the past sometimes.
No, you just got to kind of move on. And there's always, the good thing about college football is always a game next week. And so you got to start getting ready for that.
Yep. Well, thank you, Shelby, and happy birthday to you.
Energy does everything for us. It's all-encompassing.
We're all benefiting and affected from it.
And it is something that we all need to know about.
It is the glue that holds everything together.
TCU is powering what matters, our future.
We don't just talk about what's needed, we focus on results.
The Ralph Lowe Energy Institute is creating a world where energy is affordable, sustainable, and reliable.
Welcome to the Squire Shop. We are locally owned and operated since 1994. We specialize in the finest men's clothing that the market has to offer at affordable prices with unbelievable service. We do custom clothing all the way to more casual, Peter Millar, Johnny O, kind of everything. Well, my dad's the owner, so I've been around retail my whole life. Oh, it's great. I mean, it's the best boss I'll ever have. I know that. We love our TCU community. They have been so good to us. Come see us today. Go Frogs!
Welcome back to State of the Frogs. Your head coach, Sonny Dykes. Coach, Iron Skillet week. I'm sure that's never been not necessarily a fun one, but it's something you've been very deeply ingrained with for a lot of years on both sides of the equation.
Yeah. This will be, I think, my sixth Iron Skillet. We had one canceled for COVID. So, yeah, it's, always a good competitive ball game, kind of a lot of emotions between fans and that kind of thing. It's interesting. I don't know that within the players, it means maybe as much as it used to, or maybe as much as it does to the fans. But, our guys see it as an opportunity to get a win against a really good football team. And, kind of get back on track. And so our players will be excited. I think they're looking forward to going over to Dallas and playing on the road and playing against a quality football team. So, it usually brings out the best in both teams, and I'm sure it will this week.
If you don't mind me getting to that point one last time, this is the 103rd meeting between the two schools, one of the longest rivalries in college football. We know it's going away after this season. Are you happy that it's going away? How do you feel about that?
I'm like anything else. I mean, I'm a kind of a traditionalist in college football in a lot of ways. I kind of like the conferences and all the stuff the way that they are. Football is changing. I think, you're going to see a lot of these kind of rivalries start to go away as teams move from conference to conference and try to schedule different games because of conference affiliations and that kind of thing. I mean, you see games like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State going away, and Texas and Texas A&M haven't played for 18 years or whatever it is. And I'm sure we'll end up playing SMU in the future. My guess is in the not so distant future. But I think given the scheduling challenges the way it is right now, I think it makes sense kind of to kind of move in a different direction. And so I think that's what both teams are doing, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
As we like to do in the media, find tie-ins inside the game. SMU is 2-1. They lost their last week's game to BYU 18-15, 15 points through field goals, 5 field goals. You guys blocked 3. Not that's really a story or not, but you have a team that only scored on field goals and a team that blocked more field goals and kicks than before. Kind of neat little tie-in.
Kind of interesting. Yeah, kind of interesting deal. Yeah, they've got a really good field goal kicker. One of the better, more accurate guys probably in college football. As you said, kicked 5 field goals. A couple of them were long field goals against BYU. I would expect them to, not kick as many field goals, moving forward. I mean, I think that it was one of those games. It was kind of a low-scoring game. They felt like they needed to get points. And so we're a little bit more apt to kick field goals because of the way the game was going. I think going into this week, both teams are going to need to score touchdowns, is my guess, is to have a chance to win. And so it's going to be important for us to do a good job in the red zone, execute at a high level, score touchdowns, not kick field goals. That hurt us a little bit Saturday, and we got to do a good job when we get down there of scoring touchdowns, and then we have to do a good job of keeping them from scoring touchdowns. And so that'll be a big challenge for us.
You're playing 2 of their quarterbacks, Kevin Jennings and Preston Stone. Obviously, they switch off and on when it's appropriate. Does that cause you any?
Yeah, I think what they did is they named Jennings a starter. Preston's been starting, I think, the first 3 games. Kevin's going to start this one. It's going to give us a little bit different look, than maybe Preston would. A little bit more of a running quarterback. Really a good player, a winner, a guy that competes hard, a guy that can scramble around, make plays, makes throws on the run well. Moves well enough to be a concern in the quarterback run game. I'm sure we'll see quarterback draw. I'm sure we'll see a lot of different quarterback run schemes as well. that's always hard to defend, so it's going to be challenging for us. And we're going to have to do a good job creating some pressure and make sure that when we get opportunities to tackle him in space, we do a good job getting him on the ground.
Right. Rhett Lashley, head coach at SMU. Does this man? How does he fit into your?
Yeah. So obviously, Rhett was my coordinator when I was over at SMU for a couple of years, and then came back as the head coach. And so I've known Rhett for a long time. Got a lot of respect for him. Good football coach. They've done a good job with the program over there, and they got a really talented football team. A lot of good players. Rosters full of 4- and 5-star transfers. 3 defensive linemen starting from the University of Miami. A lot of really highly regarded players, and the running back right now is the #1 ranked running back in college football according to Pro Football Focus, and a defensive line will be one of the better ones we see, and a lot of 4- and 5-star players on the offensive line. So really, really talented football team, and a team that has a chance to be really good.
One more in-game thread. Rhett Lashley played high school football in Arkansas. Won 3 state titles his sophomore, junior, senior years for a coach named Gus Malzahn.
Yeah,
another interesting thread.
Yeah. So Gus and Rhett have a long background together. Rhett was Gus's offensive coordinator back at Auburn when they had a lot of success, and so they run a very very similar style of offense. Kind of believe in the same things. I think we'll see a lot of the same plays. Saturday against SMU that we saw this past Saturday against UCF. And so I would expect them to look at the stuff that hurt us and run those plays. So we got to do a good job of adapting and adjusting and, getting our players ready to defend those things.
It would seem to us on the other side of the game, you're 4-1 on depending on which team you're coaching. Obviously, you're a frog and will be a frog, but whatever team you're head coaching seems to win this game. And typically, and we don't say if in our business, we say when. When you guys win this Saturday, this will be your 5th Iron Skillet with 5 different quarterbacks, which is an interesting little.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, but it's been a good little rivalry through the years, and especially here recently. I think TCU's had a really good run for a number of years. I think 19-4 in the last 23 games, if I'm not mistaken. But it's been very competitive here in the last several years, and I would expect it to continue to be that way.
Right. Well, Coach, we're looking forward to Saturday to get back on the right track, and we have no doubt you've made the adjustments that need to happen. So let's go kick some pony ass.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Should be a good ball game for sure.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Thank you.
That's State of the Frogs with your head coach, Sonny Dykes. Thank you, guys.
Roxo Media House.